Friends is one of the most beloved sitcoms ever, but it could have looked completely different. Behind the scenes, writers scrapped storylines that were too dark, too strange, or rejected by the cast, from Joey and Phoebe secretly hooking up to NBC wanting to add an older cop to the main group. These abandoned plots would have changed the series entirely. Today, we're counting down 10 deleted Friends storylines that would have transformed the show. 10. Phoebe goes to Ross's London wedding. One of Friends' most iconic two-part episodes almost looked completely different.
Emily.
Phoebe was supposed to be in London for Ross's wedding to Emily. The original plan had Phoebe traveling with the gang to England for the wedding, where her quirky personality would clash with Emily's uptight family.
Well, that's just lovely, isn't it? I must have missed your call, even though I didn't leave the flat all day.
Oh, well, no, actually...
No, that's not rude. It's perfectly in keeping with the trip where I've already been run down by one of your wiener carts.
The writers envisioned hilarious scenes of Phoebe causing chaos at formal English events and saying inappropriate things to Emily's relatives. However, real life intervened when Lisa Kudrow became pregnant during filming of season 4. Rather than trying to hide the pregnancy or write it into the London storyline, the writers made a creative decision to keep Phoebe in New York.
This is worse than when he married the lesbian.
They wrote her pregnancy into the show as a surrogate storyline for her brother Frank Jr. and his wife Alice, which became one of Phoebe's most memorable arcs. While Phoebe still managed to be involved in the London chaos through phone calls, fans never got to see what would have happened if she'd actually been there in person, causing mayhem at Ross's doomed wedding. 9. Emily returns to New York. Emily was supposed to stick around much longer as Ross's wife, potentially changing the entire trajectory of Ross and Rachel's relationship. The original plan had Emily moving to New York after the wedding, giving the show a chance to explore Ross's marriage in more depth and develop Emily as a more sympathetic character.
That was pretty funny, wasn't it? Oh!
In season 4, Emily was charming and likable, making it easy to see why Ross fell for her. But in season 5, she became controlling and vindictive, demanding Ross cut Rachel out of his life completely. This drastic personality shift happened because actress Helen Baxendale became pregnant in real life and couldn't film full episodes in New York. The writers were forced to keep her in London, showing her only through phone conversations, which turned her into a one-dimensional villain. Had Emily actually moved to New York, as planned, viewers might have seen a more nuanced portrayal of a woman genuinely hurt by her husband, saying another woman's name at the altar. The storyline would have delayed Ross and Rachel's eventual reunion even longer, and we might have actually sympathized with Emily instead of celebrating when Ross's third marriage ended in divorce. 8. Rachel and Chandler as a couple.
Let me just say something, because once we get into this, I'm gonna get all uncomfortable and probably make some stupid joke.
Imagine if Monica and Chandler never got together because Rachel and Chandler were the couple instead. The writers seriously considered this pairing before Monica and Chandler became Friends' perfect couple. The show tested this potential relationship in season 3's The One with the Flashback, where Rachel and Chandler meet at a bar before she's supposed to marry Barry. In the episode, Rachel fantasizes about Chandler after their encounter, and there's genuine chemistry between them. The writers included this storyline specifically to gauge audience reaction to the pairing and see if it had potential for the future. The response was lukewarm at best, and the writers quickly pivoted away from the idea. Instead, they developed the Monica and Chandler relationship that became the heart of the show's later seasons. If they had pursued Rachel and Chandler as a couple, it would have completely destroyed the Ross and Rachel dynamic that drove so much of the series. It also would have meant no Monica and Chandler, arguably the show's healthiest and most beloved relationship. The decision to drop this storyline might be one of the best choices the writers ever made, preserving the love triangle that kept viewers invested while setting up the surprise romance that defined the show's second half. 7. Elizabeth's pregnancy twist. Ross was almost a father for the third time, but with a twisted ending that would have made his life even more complicated. In season 6, Ross dated Elizabeth, his much younger student, in a relationship that was already controversial enough. The original plan had the season ending with Elizabeth revealing she was pregnant with Ross's baby, setting up a major cliffhanger. But the real shock would have come in season 7 when it was revealed the baby wasn't actually his. The storyline would have put Ross through months of preparing to be a father again, only to discover he'd been deceived. The writers ultimately scrapped this idea and went with Rachel's pregnancy instead.
For the first time in weeks, I am
Fine,
somewhat
fine. You know
comfortable.
what? Whatever you want, okay? You're the mommy.
No, pal. Don't call me mommy. It's bad enough you call your own mother that. I'm actually with her on this one.
Which became one of the show's most important storylines. If they'd gone through with the Elizabeth pregnancy twist, Ross would have had 3 divorces and nearly 3 babies, cementing his reputation as the most chaotic friend. It also would have been a much darker storyline than Friends typically handled, dealing with paternity deception rather than the sweeter surprise of Ross and Rachel having Emma together. The decision to drop this plot in favor of Rachel's pregnancy gave the show a more positive direction and brought Ross and Rachel back together in a way that felt organic rather than manipulative. 6. Chandler and Monica's honeymoon detention. Chandler and Monica's honeymoon almost never happened because of a joke about bombs at an airport. In the original version of the one where Rachel tells, Chandler and Monica head to their honeymoon but never make it out of the airport. Chandler makes a sarcastic joke about bombs while going through security.
Law prohibits any joking regarding aircraft hijacking or bombing. You don't have to worry about me, ma'am. I take my bombs very seriously.
Sir, you want to come with us?
No, wait! Chandler, wait!
Which immediately gets them detained by airport officials. The situation spirals out of control when Monica's phone conversation with Joey and Phoebe is overheard and misinterpreted by security, landing them in even deeper trouble. The entire episode was supposed to follow their increasingly desperate attempts to explain themselves while making everything worse. The scenes were actually filmed and ready to air, but tragedy struck. The episode was scheduled to broadcast just 2 weeks after September 11th, 2001, and the writers realized a comedic storyline about airport security detaining people over bomb jokes was wildly inappropriate given the circumstances. They quickly replaced it with the lighthearted competing newlywed storyline where Monica and Chandler face off against another couple on their honeymoon. The original airport detention scenes were later released as part of Friends' deleted scenes collection, showing viewers what could have been one of the most poorly timed sitcom episodes in television history. 5. Rachel moves in with Gunther. Gunther's wildest dream almost came true. Rachel was supposed to become his roommate right after the pilot episode. After Rachel runs out on her wedding to Barry and crashes at Monica's apartment, the original plan had her needing to find her own place quickly. Gunther, who was already developing his massive crush on Rachel, was supposed to offer her a room in his apartment. Rachel would have accepted, setting up what could have been the most awkward living situation in the show's history. Both Jennifer Aniston and James Michael Tyler begged the writers to drop this storyline, arguing it felt forced and didn't fit the natural dynamic between their characters. Tyler admitted the idea was odd and would have fundamentally changed Gunther's role from the lovesick background character who pined for Rachel from afar to someone actually in her daily life. The writers agreed and scrapped the plot, keeping Gunther as Central Perk's silent admirer who occasionally got moments to shine. If Rachel had moved in with Gunther, it would have shifted the entire group dynamic, given Gunther way more screen time, and potentially ruined the running gag of his unrequited love that became one of the show's sweetest background storylines. 4. Pat the cop joins the group. Friends almost had a 7th main character, an older cop named Pat who would hang out with the group and offer fatherly advice. When NBC first reviewed the pilot for what was then called Friends Like Us, network executives worried the cast was too young and wouldn't attract mature viewers. They demanded that creators Marta Kaufman and David Crane add an older character to balance out the 20-somethings. Reluctantly, the writers created Pat the Cop, naming him after an older police officer who used to hang around a movie theater where some of the writers worked during college. The role was even cast, though the actor's identity was never revealed. The writers absolutely hated the idea, and the resulting script was a disaster. They pleaded with NBC to kill Pat the Cop, promising that if the network dropped the character, they would give the 6 friends prominent parents as supporting roles and bring in older guest stars instead. NBC finally agreed, and Pat the Cop was scrapped before ever appearing on screen. This compromise gave us iconic parent characters like Jack and Judy Geller.
We have it. Only now we call it the beach house.
Looking back, it's impossible to imagine a 7th friend disrupting the perfect chemistry between the core 6. And Pat the Cop would have completely changed the show's dynamic from an ensemble of equals to a group with an awkward father figure nobody asked for. 3. The gang moves to Minnesota. Friends without New York is unthinkable, but the show almost left the Big Apple entirely. In an early draft of the season 4 finale, Chandler was supposed to get a job offer in Minnesota. And in a shocking twist, all of his friends would have decided to follow him there. The storyline would have completely uprooted the show, with the gang packing up their lives and relocating to the Midwest. Writers envisioned episodes where the guys searched for a new coffee shop to replace Central Perk, everyone hunted for new apartments, and the characters adjusted to life outside of Manhattan. The writers quickly realized this idea would cause massive backlash from fans and fundamentally hurt the series. Friends was synonymous with New York. The apartments, Central Perk, the iconic purple door, and the Manhattan backdrop were essential to the show's identity. Moving everyone to Minnesota would have stripped away everything that made Friends feel like Friends. The writers scrapped the Minnesota storyline entirely and instead went with the Monica and Chandler hookup in London, which became one of the show's most pivotal moments. That single decision not only kept the show in New York, but also created the relationship that would define the second half of the series, proving that sometimes the best storylines are the ones that replace terrible ideas. Joey and Phoebe's secret relationship. Joey and Phoebe were the only two friends who never got romantically involved, but that almost changed in the most shocking way possible. Matt LeBlanc and Lisa Kudrow actually pitched an idea to the writers that would have rewritten the entire series. They suggested revealing that Joey and Phoebe had been secretly hooking up the entire time. The plan was to film flashback scenes showing their casual hookups woven into iconic moments throughout all 10 seasons, then have them emerge from a broom closet together in the final season, revealing their secret to everyone. The actors thought it would be hilarious to go back and reshoot historical scenes with this twist in mind. The writers ultimately rejected the idea, and it turned out to be the right call. Joey and Phoebe's friendship was the purest relationship on the show. They complimented each other constantly, supported each other unconditionally, and loved each other without any romantic complications. Making them a couple, even secretly, would have ruined what made their bond special and missed the entire point of a show called Friends. It also would have been incredibly predictable to pair off all 6 friends into 3 couples. By keeping Joey and Phoebe platonic, the show preserved a genuine friendship that proved men and women could be close without romantic tension, giving both characters the chance to find their own paths, Phoebe with Mike, and Joey remaining the lovable bachelor who valued friendship above all else. Chandler cheats on Monica. Monica and Chandler were Friends' most stable and beloved couple, but that almost got destroyed in the worst way possible. During season 5, after an argument about Monica meeting with her ex-boyfriend Richard, the original script had Chandler retreating to his hotel room in Las Vegas and cheating on Monica with a hotel employee. The storyline was supposed to show Chandler making a terrible mistake in a moment of weakness, creating massive drama that would shake the foundation of their relationship. The role was cast, the actress Lisa Cash showed up ready to film, and everything was in place.
It would have changed possibly the course of the show and of his character.
For what could have been one of the show's darkest moments. Then Matthew Perry stepped in and saved the entire show. The day before filming in front of a live audience, Perry went to the writers and insisted the scene be cut. He argued that the audience would never forgive Chandler for cheating on Monica, the love of his life, and he was absolutely right. The writers agreed and completely reworked the episode, with Cash's character changed to a flight attendant in a different scene instead. Perry's instinct to protect Chandler and Monica's relationship was one of the most important decisions in the show's history. If Chandler had cheated, it would have shattered the one couple fans could always count on, turned Chandler into someone viewers would struggle to root for, and potentially ruined the entire emotional core of the show's final seasons.
For so long, I wondered if I would ever find my prince, my soulmate. Then 3 years ago, at another wedding, I turned to a friend for comfort. And instead, I found everything that I'd ever been looking for my whole life.